that gives us the chance for a tornado. All right, so let's talk about sheltering. Lowest level of the home. Basement is best, obviously. Interior room, away from windows, duck and cover. Protect your head and neck. Let me give you a little different view of this. So let's say we got a warning and you go, okay, I need to know what to do. Here's the deal. Closet, notice it's interior, hall, interior, bathroom, or stairs. Now, why? Well, we want to be away from windows. We want to be away from outside walls. We want to cover yourself with blankets or a mattress for protection. Yes, number one, if you have it, like Chester mentioned, yes, basement. That is a much, much safer option. But you certainly don't want to spend a lot of time deciding, have a plan, and execute it. So here's the tornado warning. Jefferson, Loudoun, and Washington. So again, if you're in Brunswick, hey, stay alert. Charlestown, now it's past you. They'll probably trim this in a little bit, and they'll see if they move it eastward. I'm not 100% sure they're going to move it eastward. It did look textbook about 15, 20 minutes ago, not as textbook now, and it will continue to move off to the east toward Frederick. It's going to kind of go in between Tuscarora and Frederick. Any thoughts on the radar hook here, Chester?
Yeah, to me, it's looking like it's a little weaker now. So
yeah, I think so.
If we want to switch back over to my source, and I could talk real quick, do quick street level mapping of what's going to happen with this storm. So there's the source there. So I'm going to move in a little bit closer on this cell. Again, tracking it east as it continues to move towards Harpers Ferry, Sandy Hook area. You want to take shelter now if you live in those areas. You're under that warning till 7 o'clock. Some of the roads that we were talking about, West Virginia Route 230, the storm where the possible tornado is now east of you. But I would stay in your shelter a few more minutes. Harpers Ferry Road, Maryland Route 67 out towards the Pleasant Valley area and Pleasant Valley School, and then Route 340 there from Sandy Hook and Pleasantville east, Sandy Hook Road, Potomac Street, places like that. Those, if you live in those areas or off of those roads, you want to take shelter right now. Get in that storm shelter, your basement, lowest level of your house. Again, you want as many doors and windows between you and the outside, and that's the point, so that it keeps you safe. It's kind of like a protective bubble as this possible tornadic cell moves to the east. I'm going to toss it back over to Topper and see if there's any new information. But Topper, I honestly think this storm system is the warning's probably going to get lifted at 7 o'clock, if not sooner.
I think so. I agree with that. I mean, it doesn't look as bad as it did, which is a good thing. I do want to go back up here briefly and just check out a couple things with the vorticity. So we have the severe thunderstorm warning. I'm going to take that off for a minute. We have the tornado warning as well. So I'm going to take both of those off for just a second. And we're going to just kind of see if we see any rotation. And this kind of helps us decide if there is a tornado or if it's on the ground. And we'll go up here. Don't see much shear there. Don't see Boulevard. It looked bad near Boulevard at one point, but you know, we got gate to gate 21 miles an hour, 26. That's not earth-shattering, and it's not crazy in terms of danger, but it's going to have some winds. I mean, there's no doubt it's going to have some pretty good winds. So I would, keep that in mind. And as Chester said, if you can go to an interior room, it's just simply the best place to be. If you don't have a basement, fine. So let me zoom in now. I'm going to take away the radar, and we're going to talk about some towns so you can kind of see this a little bit better. So there's the warning, and that's the red box, okay? And if you're in there, you should have already taken cover. So there we are. So let's see, Blakerton Road, Samples Manor, Reed Road, Valley Road, all these areas you have to, hopefully you've taken cover because you're in the warning area. Even Augusta, you're on the edge, but it's headed towards you. Valley Road also. So these are some places, if I ring a bell or someone, text them and say, hey, do you know that you're under a tornado warning? Great time to download the app. If you download the app, we can send you these tornado warnings for multiple locations. We won't waste your time. You can be very, very specific as to where you choose these tornado warnings. So I'll zoom back out. There it is, Samples Manor, Sandy Hook. But once again, Burkittsville, Slabtown, Brunswick, even Lovettsville, in case this thing does a right turner, I would just be aware and, stay with us here until the danger passes, because this could be extended off to the east. And I just kind of want to make that clear to folks. So here we are again. There's the severe thunderstorm warning is gone. Tornado warning still for Jefferson and Washington County. So Loudoun County is now dropped. I think that's correct, Chester. Loudoun County is now dropped.
Yes.
Just Jefferson and Washington until 7 o'clock. And it is moving off to the east at about 26, 25 miles per hour. So inside the tornado warning box area, it's raining to beat the band, no doubt. And again, if you can safely take a picture, if you see something, take a picture. If you have our app, hit Near Me, and you can just very easily send us a picture in the newsroom. So this is the warning, okay? Includes Bolivar, but we just did a check on the rotation, not crazy, and it's headed toward Petersville and Buckystown. Buckystown, probably about 7:19, maybe Urbana about 7:32. Do you have vid?
Yeah, we got some video. Okay. Cool. From one of our weather explorers, Doug Clark, and this is out in the Martinsburg Inwood area of the downpours from this particular cell. Just minutes before the tornado warning was issued. Just impressive video coming from that area. Thank you, Doug, for that picture. So we also have a report of a building collapse, a structure collapse in the 200 block of 16th Avenue in Ranson, West Virginia, which is right outside of Charlestown. And again, this is associated with this same cell that has possibly produced the tornado. So again, that's in Ranson, West Virginia, just outside of Charlestown. I know we have a lot of viewers who watch out in this area, including Doug. Thank you for sending us this picture. He lives in West Virginia, so if you're wondering why we're covering this tornado warning in the West Virginia communities, it's because we have viewers there, and these are people who are depending on this weather information. So yeah, we have a tornado warning that is continuing for this area, this part of Jefferson County, north and east of Charlestown, and into parts of Washington County in Maryland until 7 o'clock. That includes you guys out in Harpers Ferry, Sandy Hook area, and if you're watching us from Washington County, you just want to stay with us because we will continue to track this storm as this moves into your area. And again, I have been in contact with the National Weather Service trying to see if there will be any updates to this warning. So far, we haven't heard back from them, but this is the storm that is potentially producing a tornado. If you live off of Harpers Ferry Road, US-340, Maryland Route 67, in that Sandy Hook, Pleasant Valley area, you need to get into your shelter immediately as we continue to track this potential tornadic storm here that, again, is, I'll put it back on your screen here, that is moving out of West Virginia and moving into a small sliver of Washington County here in Maryland. Again, this warning until 7 o'clock, and I'll toss it back to Topper, see if he has any new information there.
Yeah, I want to show you a couple of things on the storm reports, which you mentioned. So yeah, this is the structure along the 200 block of 16th Avenue in Ranson, West Virginia. We have no reports of any injuries, but some structure has collapsed, and that is in the Charlestown area, okay? And it's to the east of 81, and there's another one west, another reported down trees, and a structure collapsed near McGlynn Lane. So that's kind of in between Charlestown and Cross Junction. So we'll get more information as we can. So we know they had strong winds. We just don't know if this was tornadic or not. Again, it's a Doppler indicated tornado. So there's very complicated algorithms, and it just triggers it. Sometimes there actually is a tornado on the ground. Sometimes there is not. But either way, we know high winds occurred, and we know we have some structure collapses. So there you go. Tornado warning. There it is. It's a little smaller now. No longer includes Loudoun County, does Jefferson County and Washington County until 7 o'clock. Again, looking at this radar image, it is not nearly as well defined as it was just a half an hour ago. It is not nearly as intense in terms of reflectivity, heavy rainfall, as it was a half an hour ago. It is pushing off to the east. I mean, if you're still in Brunswick or Frederick, yeah, I would take this seriously, no doubt. So now we're going to zoom in. Okay, this is big. So, Chester, they just put a severe thunderstorm warning ahead of the tornado warning.
Yes.
That tells us, okay, the threat is over
Yep.
once this crosses the next 15 minutes or so. So
Yeah,
we don't
in
think
fact,
there's going to be a problem at all.
I'm sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off there, Topper, but I did hear back from the National Weather Service. They are definitely going to let this expire at 7 o'clock as expected. It looks like the threat has diminished for this area, but severe level winds certainly look like they're a good possibility here, Topper, through the next few hours. Of course, we'll keep an eye on that, but we'll be done covering this tornado warning shortly.
And so let's wrap it up. But let's emphasize what you just said, Chester. Yes, so the warning won't be extended. The severe thunderstorm warning has been extended. But you know what? We know there's strong winds with this. So they may not be, crazy 70, 75 mile per hour winds, but they could be 50 or 60.
Right.
And as we know, that has done damage. We know that from the last windstorm. So I'm going to zoom out. So now this storm is headed toward Harry Grove Stadium at 7:07, Urbana at 7:25. And then if you look carefully, there's a lot on the screen here. If you look carefully, that's the severe thunderstorm warning that is now ahead of the tornado warning, which is great news because they would have extended the tornado warning eastward. But as we talked about it, it just didn't look like it looked like it was just dying down a little bit. Still a strong storm, no doubt. If you're in the path of this, Jefferson, Harry Grove, Urbana, even Damascus, a little bit before 8 o'clock, you have time to maybe bring some cushions in, maybe secure some loose objects, because it could still be a severe thunderstorm. Remember, it has to have hail, an inch, quarter-size hail, or winds 58 miles per hour or higher. And we saw hail earlier, but I think the big threat with this one now is just simply winds up to 58 miles. So Chester mentioned this. There's that structure collapse around Charlestown in Ranson, West Virginia, 200 block of 16th Avenue. We have our assignment desk on that to see if there's any injuries in that. And then further west, so toward Cross Junction, also a structure collapse near McGlynn Lane, and also reports of trees down. So this could have been tornadic, could have just been strong straight line winds. We'll let you know. But in any event, this is a big storm, and it's a very strong storm as it moves off to the east. So Frederick, get ready. Route 17, you're about to get hammered with some rain. Route 15, you don't want to be on the road either between Tuscarora and Frederick. Hey, good news, Charlestown, your threat's over. If some light rain and showers, that's it. Martinsburg, the threat's over as well. It's our friends now to the east toward Brunswick and Frederick County, Maryland. Maryland in this case, because remember, Frederick County, Virginia also had the warning, but now we're concerned more about Frederick County, Maryland, and points east of Brunswick. Chester, anything?
Yeah, so I will mention, even though this tornado warning will expire at 7 o'clock, the severe thunderstorm warning that Topper was just telling you about, in the text they mentioned that there could be another tornado to spin up out of this cell. So they're going to keep an eye on this storm. We will too. You can download our free WUSA 9 app, and of course we will have the latest as the storm cell continues to move off to the east. But there's the tornado warning. It's north and east of Charlestown, right along that 340 corridor, crossing into Harpers Ferry. So if you live in Harpers Ferry, still want to stay in your shelter for another 5-10 minutes here, and then right into the Sandy Hook area, Pleasant Valley, those areas into Maryland. That's where that warning is. And then the new severe thunderstorm warning includes you guys watching us from Frederick here. So if you live in Frederick, Brunswick, as Topper was just mentioning, you are now under that warning. And this storm has a history of putting down downpours, and it has a history of wind damage. We saw that with the structure collapse right outside of Charlestown. So this is a cell that needs to be watched. You'll want to stay with WUSA 9. We may switch over to streaming live online once we go off air here, and then if it's a tornado warning again, we will break into programming. Of course, coming up the Q&A here at 7 o'clock, so we'll have plenty to talk about with this storm as it moves across into the Frederick area. But again, that is what we're going to be watching over the next few hours. Tornado warning for a few more minutes, Jefferson County, West Virginia, and that sliver of Washington County, Maryland, in around the Harpers Ferry, Sandy Hook area. Again, that's in that southern part, southeastern part of the county. And then Frederick County, you've got that severe thunderstorm warning there. And again, that has the potential to spit up another tornado. Not a for sure thing, but another potential. And that's until 7:30. Watch for up to 60 mile per hour winds. And again, this storm, Topper, has had a history of producing storm damage so far, and that's something we've seen this evening.
Right, and so we can't get too hung up on, hey, it's not a tornado warning, I'm safe, because, you know, you can still have a severe thunderstorm warning, which we do, and it's still dangerous. So here's the radar, and this over the past couple hours, you can see these storms kind of just hanging to the north of D.C. up near Frederick, and then working its way back to the west, almost training right now. So we're going to watch this, see if they can get any flooding out of this over the next hour or so. So all heavy activity north of Leesburg. It is north of D.C., no problems in southern Maryland. One storm went through earlier, that is now across the bay, so that's okay. So this is the severe thunderstorm warning, it goes till 7:30. This is the tornado warning, it goes until 7 o'clock. And again, it does not look as pronounced as it did earlier, it doesn't look as heavy, but as Chester mentioned, it has the potential to spin up another tornado and also has the potential to intensify again. So it's moving off to the east, headed toward Frederick. You're in the severe thunderstorm warning. Now you folks, the places like Mount Airy and points north have to also think, okay, the warning is not too far from me. I need to maybe take some precautions as well. So this is the tornado warning, includes Samples Manor and Sandy Hook, but I think you are fine if you are west of Samples Manor in terms of any danger. In fact, quite frankly, you're probably okay in Samples Manor now. The danger probably right along Route 67. So I've taken the radar off. There's Samples Manor, there's Harpers Ferry Road, and this is Sandy Hook. So this is essentially the extreme eastern part of this box is where the danger is. Now we've got the severe thunderstorm warning, which covers a large area. So it has Middletown in it, has Jefferson in it, has Frederick, the city, and also the Frederick County, Maryland in it. You want to kind of be off the roads if you can around Interstate 70, Route 15 as well, in between Jefferson and also Frederick. So I'll zoom back out. So this is headed essentially toward Braddock at about 7:01, so like 4 minutes. Frederick at 7:08, Harry Grove Stadium at about 7:12, New London at about 7:30, and Woodville at about 7:41. And looks like this thing might hold together as it moves eastward. The atmosphere is pretty unstable. We don't see much, weakening this. So again, where do I go? And quite frankly, you can apply this to a severe thunderstorm warning. Interior, okay, closet, hall, stairs, interior bathroom, away from the windows. That's the key, is getting away from the windows and outside walls and then covering yourself, protect yourself from flying debris. If you have a basement, yes, obviously that is the absolute best place. Also, if you have little windows in the basement, don't go near the windows. Go interior also of the basement. Use the same rules that would apply to a first story as well. So again, even a severe thunderstorm warning, you probably should stay away from windows too. All right, so this is the recap here. What we know, the building collapse, 200 block of 16th Avenue in Ranson, West Virginia, and that is essentially in Charlestown. And right now we have no reports of injuries.
There is one report, actually.
What do we have?
Yeah, one report of an injury with from the National Weather Service. They're reporting one injury with that collapse there in Charlestown. Yeah.
Do we have anything on the other one in McGlynn Lane?
I didn't see anything there.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, but we do have these two reports, which is, again, whether or not it was a tornado or not, we still are looking at strong winds and dangerous storms, and that's really not going to change. Widen the radar back out. And Chester, look at this. They're kind of training.
Yeah, this may turn into a flood threat the way it's looking.
Yeah, that's not a good sign. So if you're in D.C. and you're south, you're okay. The biggest threat's really essentially to the west, Frederick County and Frederick, the city, back into Jefferson County and kind of along I-70 corridor, I think is going to be the biggest threat as we go through the next couple of hours. Not to say that storms won't, pop up time to time. There's one now just to the southwest of D.C., but I think the main event here is up to the north where the warnings are. And again, no one's under a watch. We went right to warnings today. So tornado warning until 7, but this is a severe thunderstorm warning for Frederick and also for Washington County in Maryland. And that goes until 7:30. And we know this has history of winds. Tornado or not, it's still a dangerous storm as it moves off to the east. Okay, boom. Tornado warning gone. That's good. And now we have the severe thunderstorm warning for Frederick County and also Washington County until 7:30. So we'll watch this in case it kicks up again. But for now, just a severe thunderstorm warning for Frederick County, Maryland, and Washington County until 7:30 tonight. Stay with us. Q&A begins now.
And good evening, I'm Adam Longo. Glad you're in with us tonight on the Q&A. We've got to talk about this yellow weather alert perhaps you've seen for the past 30, 45 minutes. Topper and Chester have both been dealing with this tornado warning for Loudoun County and parts of West Virginia. So, Topper, we know that tornado warning has now expired. Where is the danger right now for folks, though?
I would say, Frederick, because the storm is headed essentially right to you. Myersville, around Route 17, you're inside the severe thunderstorm warning until 7:30. So that's probably the biggest danger. But, remember, if you're outside this, Mount Airy and points north, you always can say, oh, well, that warning is to my west and it's moving east, moving toward me. So just sort of keep that in mind. But for the time being, the warning itself goes till 7:30. And it's a severe thunderstorm warning for Frederick County and Washington County in Maryland. And lighter activity down toward Tuscarora. When you see these yellows, orange, and reds, that's when you think, oh boy, that's a big storm. And this is a big storm, but not as big as it was just about a half an hour ago. We'll zoom in. Heaviest rain now, Burkittsville. Rainfall rates well over 1 inch per hour. And as Chester mentioned, they're kind of extending back to the west. And when we see that, we're kind of worried about whether or not they end up with a flood threat too. So again, Burkittsville, you're under the warning. Petersville, you're under the warning until 7:30. Samples Manor, you're okay now. Harpers Ferry Road west, you're clear of the danger. Still some light showers. Middletown, you're in the severe thunderstorm warning, as is Frederick. Urbana, you're not quite in it, but I would keep an eye to the sky. Jefferson, you're in the warning as well. Want to be off the roads, I-70, Route 15, from Frederick down toward Jefferson, certainly. Zoom back out again. Where is it going? Well, it's going toward Frederick here in about another 5, 6, 7 minutes. New London at 7:30, Woodville at 7:41, Mount Airy at about 7:48. And right now the biggest threats, gusty winds over 58 miles per hour, and also heavy rainfall, which could lead to flash flooding. And that is right around Route 17 right now, and it's headed off toward Braddock and Bartonsville. So again, please be advised. And even if we don't see a tornado warning, and we'll watch this in case it spins up again, have a plan. Hallway, stairs, interior rooms. What do you want to do? You want to be away from the windows and doors. Cover yourself with blankets or mattress for protection. And yes, if you have a basement, that is the place to be. So we'll be back. Chester will join me again. But right now, just severe thunderstorm warnings. But we'll keep an eye out for another tornado warning if possible.
All right. I know we're tracking some reports of damage in parts of West Virginia, too. As soon as we learn more about that, we'll bring that to you, of course, as well. Topper, thanks. All right, we're going to bring you to some COVID-19 vaccine questions now. A lot of you want to know when your kids are going to be able to get that COVID-19 vaccine. So a D.C. doctor's